Hello there, you amazing viewers and subscribers. Welcome to a brand new Doctor Who review for today. So in this review, I'm going to be talking about the 31st episode of Doctor Who that we had from 1963. And it is Doctor Who, The Unearthly Child. As you can tell, I got the VHS and the DVD releases of these two stories. So, what can I tell you about this story? So this story was actually broadcast from the 23rd of November 1963. Well, basically it was booked the 23rd of November to the 14th of December 1963. It's the very first story that feature the Doctor, played by Mr. William Hartnell. We have Caroline Ann, who plays the Doctor's granddaughter, Susan. We have Jacqueline Hill, who played Barbara. And, of course, this is the very first time we also have... I can't remember his last name, but I know it's William, who plays Ian Chesterton. So this is the greatest story of ever, I could actually say. Well, it's not. It's good for part 1, which is the introduction. But then when you get to parts 2, 3 and 4, it gets really, really boring afterwards. But it's still quite enjoyable. When I say that it gets a little bit boring, it does drag out a little bit. But it's quite okay. So, I'm going to talk about the first stuff of the very first episode. So, I'm going to pop these up here so you know I'm talking about The Unearthly Child. So, I'll put the DVD there. Put the VHS there. So, talking about Doctor Who, The Unearthly Child. So, we start off with the very first ever title sequence for the show. And it is a masterpiece. It goes from a creepy, you see a policeman like walking in the fog. You get to the gates for the junkyard 76 Totter's Lane, which basically comes to far part in Doctor Who's history in another story of Classic Who, which is Remembrance of the Daleks. And we do see a little bit of a cameo of the junkyard with Coal Hill School in 2013 in the 50th anniversary special Day of the Doctor. So we don't really bump straight into the TARDIS or to the first Doctor straight away. So we start off with the school, Coal Hill School, with Ian and Barbara like talking about how mystery this unknown girl is, Susan Foreman. So when you get into the story and you see Barbara lend Susan a book, and then she goes, oh, you can return it to me when it's finished. She goes, oh, no need to, I can return it tomorrow. He goes, no, you return it when you finished it. He went, I will finish it by tomorrow, Susan said. I do quite like that chemistry. And then when you see Ian and Barbara talk, like, in the car at parked at Totter's Lane, you see them, like, talking, showing little clips about how they find Susan a bit strange, really. Especially in the science department with Ian, where she's talking about D and E, and he goes, like talking, and she goes, what would you have this to be? The 4th dimension? And she went, yes. And he went, and what would you have the 5th dimension? Space. It really shows that she's very, very alien at this point, but it's a really great way that Caroline's playing Susan. And then when you get to the junkyard, they see Susan like vanish, and then they're going after her. Which basically you see an old police box, then you hear Ian put his hand on the tire, so he goes, yeah, you feel that, don't you? It's got a faint vibration. It's alive. And then they go off and hide when they hear the Doctor coming, and then when they speak, the Doctor's there trying to get rid of them quick as he can. And then when Susan accidentally opened the door, and actually she asks, what's taking so long, Grandfather? He goes, Susan! He literally tries to argue with Susan to close the door. Ian holds the first Doctor back, and Barbara pushes away in. And then you get into this massive TARDIS room console set, which is a great way. And then you get the Doctor saying, I believe these humans are known to you. She goes, yes, they're still 2 of my school teachers. He went, see, they found their way into the ship. Ooh, I knew this would happen. I knew this would happen if you went to that school. I like the way the first Doctor literally is like a grumpy old man in the very first episode. And then when he's talking to Ian and Barbara saying, we're not from this space. We're not from this Earth. We're from the 4th dimensions in space and time. I absolutely like William Hartnell's very first line for that, though. And this is when he's taking off his scarf, because I do like that as well. And then when he tricks the TARDIS console into making Ian touch it, and it's alive and he executes him, he literally takes off the TARDIS. Susan just tried to stop him, but the first Doctor switches off and the TARDIS leaves 1963, and it goes back into the caveman era with Ian and Barbara knocked out because this is their first trip in the TARDIS, and then you just have the Doctor just standing there going like that, and then you just see him standing in the TARDIS console room looking outside the scanner going And then that's the end of part one. Then when you get to part two, it's literally like you have a caveman watching literally watch the TARDIS appear, and then they go out and investigate. They leave the TARDIS, go and investigate where they are. The Doctor basically gets kidnapped by a caveman, and he instructs them to try and make a fire and stuff. But the Doctor, very, very later on in this story, you do see the Doctor have a bit of a darker side. He's literally about to bash somebody's head in with a rock, a caveman's head in with a rock. Ian stops him. I do like the story for a little bit of it. When you see them at the end, when they're literally trying to get away from the caveman's tribe, and they're literally chasing all four of them, and they all run back into the TARDIS, and they're there throwing sticks and stuff like the cavemen used to, and the TARDIS just vanishes, goes off to the next story, which basically leads off with them landing on Skaro, and it moves up saying there's radiation, and none of them look at the radiations bit afterwards, so they go out the TARDIS, and then that's when the credits roll. So, do I enjoy this story? Yes, in a way. It's not a great way to start off for Doctor Who. To be honest with you, part one is absolutely amazing, but when you get to the cavemen episodes, as I say, it does drag out a little bit. But do I recommend this story to a new viewer that wants to go back and watch classic Doctor Who? Yes, because this is the very first episode of Doctor Who, and it's very, very essential watching, because this is the very first episode of all time, and it's a good episode. Not great, not a masterpiece, but it's still good, especially with part one, even though I do get a little bit bored in episodes 2, 3, and 4. But they're still very much enjoyable. Just get a little bit bored halfway through them, but they're only 25 minutes long. As soon as you make it through all 4 parts, then you go into the next story, which is the Daleks, and that is 7 parts, and that is an absolutely epic story. I've already done a review on the Daleks. If you haven't seen my review on Doctor Who, the Daleks, check it out, because that is the second story of Doctor Who. I quite enjoy The Unearthly Child. It's a great jumping on point for Doctor Who. I have tried to recommend this to a few of my friends that have wanted to get into Doctor Who at one point. They've watched it and they're like, I'm not really too keen in it, and I'm like, just give it a chance, go on to the next episode, because this actually comes available in the box set. The DVD one does, called Doctor Who The Beginning. We have the other 2 stories from the very first beginning, which is the Daleks and Edge of Destruction, which I do have the box set up in the box sets, where the DVDs are just here. It's a great way to start off any Doctor Who collection. You go back to the old days of 1963. This is a really great episode with William Hartnell. I really do like William Hartnell's Doctor from the jumping on point, the way it started, and then you do see him progress a lot later on during the series, like the 3 series. You do see him progress, especially in season 2. He becomes more mellow. Season 3, he becomes a little bit more mellow, but then you still see him being like the tough guy that the first Doctor is, especially when he comes across the war machines and he's just there going like, I will not be intimidated. Like that. I do quite enjoy the first Doctor story. It's a great jumping on point for Doctor Who. I like the part 1 especially good. The way it sets up the whole thing of the TARDIS being from another dimension, the Doctor's from another dimension with Susan. They're literally just travellers. They go around time and space. I do quite enjoy this story. It's a great jumping on point for Doctor Who. I do highly recommend this story. Let me know in the comments what you think of Doctor Who The Unearthly Child. Is it a great story for you? Do you think it's a good way to interview somebody into Doctor Who by asking them as a jumping on point? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and please do like, subscribe and share, and have a great day, and join me tomorrow for another Doctor Who video. See you later.